So we're in sunny Florida. I've been consulting on a couple self-storage new builds here over the last 2 years, and then I also own a place right next to Disney. So just taking some time away from Michigan weather, even though surprisingly it's actually warmer in Michigan than it is in Florida right now. So let's tie off on the first thing or overlying principle. If you want good advice, it has to be specific advice. If this advice that we're giving you is not specific and nice for you, you got to pay for it. Or you got to basically give somebody a very specific scenario in order to do so. I get this question so often, like, where is a good lender for the state of Massachusetts? It's like, okay, well, you need to know a lot of things. So we're going to tie in those 3 things that somebody needs to know to give you a good recommendation. Number 1, what is the loan size, okay? If you're sub 1 million, probably sub 2 million, you're pretty much only looking at local options. You're probably not looking at too many. You're not looking at national lenders. You're not looking at brokers. You might be looking at a regional bank, but simply because of the motivation of the loan officer with how little of a commission there is, plus the fees they charge using national vendors, you're going to be looking at local options. You're sub 1 million. Conversely, if you're looking at a deal that's 10 million plus, you're probably looking at national brokerage options, because if you're asking this question, you're probably newer, and a bank probably doesn't want that type of large exposure to a new borrower. Unless maybe, you have like 6 figures in deposits at a minimum, then you might want to check with those options first. But assuming you're asking that question, I assume that's one of the first options that you've asked with your local lender that you currently have your banking relationship with. So number 2, who are you? Okay, are you somebody that has built a lot of self-storage? Are you somebody that's operating self-storage? Because those are things that somebody needs to know. If you don't have any experience in the trades of self-storage or the operations, your options are pretty much going to be SBA unless you have a very, very large bankroll, which basically means the bank is going to lend to you off your experience. One of the things you can also do is called cross-collateralizing, but you can put up assets for your property so for example, if I have a multifamily or another self-storage facility, I can use the equity on that as additional collateral to secure better financing or just to secure it in the first place. If you are somebody that basically knows about the operations, but you don't have a large balance sheet, where are you getting the money from? Are you getting it from investors? Because there's some loans, like SBA, where it's very, very difficult to secure financing if you are not the one procuring the down payment. So those things right off the bat, if you just ask for a good lender, I give you a lender, I'm like, well, this doesn't even apply to you because I can't do any of these loans because of the fact that I'm trying to get my investors' money as the only equity. I don't have any money into my own deal. And then the last one too as well, which is kind of tied back into it, is the location and the site. Are you investing in a very, very rural area where I've never even heard of this location? Or are you investing in a Dallas metropolitan area where a lot of lenders, there's a lot of options? If you're looking very, very tertiary, then your options are likely SBA or local unless you're doing a very, very large loan size. If I'm looking in basically Dallas and I'm probably looking at large builds, then I'm either using a regional bank, a credit union that has very large, or partnering with another one, or I'm looking at capital options. And ideally, if it's really, really big, you might even have recourse or non-recourse options too as well. So to kind of refresh on this is you need to know the answer to these questions. So number 1, how much are you looking to borrow? Number 2, who are you and why should we lend to you? And number 3, what is this site like and who am I targeting basically as the tenants and what banks are already established in this market? If you don't know these 3 things, your pitch is going to sound terrible to a bank, and as a result, you're not going to secure financing.